Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of Journeys in Melody. Today we have sitting with me Sharon Rurak. Did I get that right?
That's right. Yes.
Now, Sharon is one of those persons who is behind the music, behind the musicians, who does a lot of the work to help them on their journey to get known and to, spread their art to the world. She has been working with several artists. She's based in Saskatchewan, Canada, and a few of the artists that I've interviewed on this podcast in the past and currently, she has helped me to connect with those individuals. So she is pivotal in this platform and in starting this podcast. So thank you so much for joining me, Sharon.
Thank you very much for having me today. It's a pleasure.
I'm happy to have you sit with me and chat because you are one of those persons who act behind the scenes, who the people don't see, but you are very important. You are very key to helping the musicians get where they are going. You are doing this work behind the scenes. What does public relations in music entail, really?
So if an artist was coming to me, what I would be doing is, I send out to probably like over 400 contacts, like email blasts go out to radio, to TV, magazines, podcasts, DJs, like it goes out to everybody. I try and get them interviews on radio and get them on TV, as I mentioned, all that kind of stuff. And it goes, like I said, internationally. It's not just going to Canada. It's not just Saskatchewan. It's going internationally across the world. Excuse me 1 second.
Yeah, sure. Take your time.
my nose is running. Sorry. Okay. Let me start that over. Okay, so when the artist reaches out to me, I will, I send out my email blasts. I try and get them as much on as many radio stations as I can, get them interviews, get them podcasts, get them on TV. We do the DSP, which is the digital service provider, to try and get them on, like Apple Music, on Spotify. Of course, if they're with a distributor, they will promote that same service as well. So, and even just going through things with the artist, the expectations and what they need to do, having that social media presence. There's a lot of things like that. And I find, when a lot of artists are starting off, they want to do a lot on their own because it is a big expense. If you need to hire a manager, if you need to hire a PR, if you need a radio promoter, it's a lot for them. But, once they get to a certain stage, they're so busy too. It's hard. It's really hard for them. They can't do it all on their own. They need a dedicated team that's on board, that's going to be 100% for them and work hard for them. And that's what I try to do. And
absolutely.
Yeah. So it's a lot of stuff like that. And artists themselves, I find, when they're reaching out themselves to radio or whatever, it's, they fall into the same predicament as I did off the start, right? These people don't know them. But like if they're a new artist starting off, they don't know them. They don't know the music, right? So it's really hard. And I find if you have somebody contacting these places on your behalf, it's better as well. It just feels more professional. And if I already have those connections made, it's easier to reach out to these people than them trying to do it themselves, right?
Yeah. Okay. So that's your role. So we get a clear understanding of what happens and why you are important in the industry, people like you who do PR, or why it's important. So while they are working on the art and the music and creating the music, you are working on connections and making sure that they're getting on the right platforms and talking to the right people, etc. So that's perfect. You're a people connector. I want to really ask about the balance because you seem to be doing a lot. Your personal life and your personal journey with your job and this business and making all those connections. Where do you find balance in all of that?
Well, I guess the first thing I want to say is because I love what I'm doing, sometimes it's not always, it doesn't feel like it's so much work. At times it is. And just like every artist and everyone out there, at times it's like, wow, this is a lot, right?
Yeah.
But because I work with such great people and because I so thoroughly enjoy doing what I do,
Mhm.
it's always good. And I try and take some time for myself too, right?
Yeah.
Actually, just a couple days ago, I slipped away out to Manitou Springs. It's a resort and spa, so I spent a couple days there just
Yes.
to relax and unwind and
Mhm.
prepare for the next um, bunch of duties coming up, right? Work
Yeah,
to be done. But yeah, you have to stop and pause and take some time for yourself as well.
absolutely.
But and it's not it's for myself as well as the artist. It's not a 9 to 5 job per se. It's the 24/7 job because of all the different time zones and everything going on.
Yeah,
Some people are reaching out to me at the wee hours of the morning because it's daytime for them. And if I wait till the next day, then they're sleeping. So, you just try and make it work as best as you can.
um, tell us a bit about you, your background, and how did you get into music?
Well, my story, it's a different one. It wasn't that it was a dream of mine to get into the music business, but it seems to have worked out that way. Um, I'm from Saskatchewan. I was born and raised in Saskatchewan, so I've been here most of my life. Um, it's funny, the story how I got into the music business was an artist that I work with, Kay Anthony. He had come into my place of employment to drop off a poster because he was having a concert. He was also telling me about a video he wanted to shoot. So we started talking about that. And I said, well, I can help you out with that. And we planned this video together and he shot this video. We both lived in the same city at that time.
Mhm.
And yeah, it just kind of exploded from there. He was impressed with the work that I did. And he's like, you really should be doing this for a living, right? So we continued working together. We've been working together for over 8 years now. And the journey's
Amazing.
just carried on from there. Yeah, we worked together and then he kept encouraging me, you need to start this business. You should be starting this business. And so it took me a long time, but eventually I did, although I had been working with him and a few others, through that time. But yeah, that's where my music business all came into play.
Oh,
And
really?
what's incredible about that is that sometimes, we do things naturally just because we enjoy doing them and maybe are good at doing certain things. But sometimes it takes somebody else to point that out to us that you are good at something or that you should be doing this. And sometimes it takes that to see it in yourself that, you know what? Yeah, maybe that's a good idea, right?
It's interesting to know that you
No.
actually started when you met Kevin. That's interesting.
Yeah.
Okay, so
Yeah.
so
Well,
from working with him, how did you connect with the other artists?
Well, the thing with my business is I've never really advertised my business. A lot of the other
Mhm.
artists that come about is through word of mouth. So by Kevin speaking to other artists, telling them who he works with, or artists will approach him or other artists that I work with and say, "Hey, who do you work with for your PR?" It's always great because everybody knows each other and you're working with a great team of people. They feel comfortable with me because they know the artists that referred me, and I feel comfortable with them because the artist I work with knows them. So it's and not that you have to be, but it just makes it a lot easier, right?
Perfect, perfect, perfect.
Yeah.
So when you how do you vet persons though? Of course, you get that connection, and you trust the persons who you're working with, and so you take those referrals based on that relationship. But do you do any additional vetting for the artists you work with?
Absolutely. I will get them to send out all their information for me. I will check out their music, see how they, you kind of go through the process. Just if you were hiring somebody, you have to check it all out and make sure it's a good fit for myself and
Yeah.
for, our team. And yeah, so it's a little bit, it's not just, oh, this person's going to reach out to you.
Mhm.
I still go through my own process to make sure that I can do the right job for them as well, right? That we're a good fit together.
Yeah. So do you
Yeah.
find that your influence and your company is going beyond Saskatchewan and Canada?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Um, a lot of my artists that I work with, it's not just local artists, right? I work with artists across Canada, US, South Africa, Jamaica.
Nice.
And honestly, they could be anywhere in the world because I
Yeah.
can do my job. I don't have to be where they are, right?
Perfect. Yes,
I can do the job from anywhere across the world. So that makes it even better. You meet all kinds of people from everywhere, and yeah, it's really great.
what does it take? What kind of work do you have to put in to start a business with one artist, then two, three, and then you start expanding, then you have a global clientele? What does it take to build that kind of company?
Well, to be honest, off the start, it is a lot of work, right? Because you're building those relationships. You have to reach out to all these different people, whether it's radio, TV, magazines, whatever it is.
Yeah.
You have to develop the relationship with these people and get a good connection going with them. So initially it's a lot of work to get started. And
Mhm.
it is continual, like it's ongoing because you're always reaching out to new prospects, new opportunities. And because it is worldwide, there are so
Yeah.
many, right? I'm not just doing reaching out to people in Saskatchewan per se, right? It's globally. So it's never ending. So you have to really be prepared to put in a lot of work in that aspect of it.
All right. So walk me through an experience then. So you want to talk to somebody at a radio station.
Right.
What do you do?
Um, well, it depends. You're always looking for a contact. Sometimes you can get referred or get a reference from someone you already know. They might have a contact for someone at another place,
Mhm.
but it's not always necessarily like that. So sometimes it's just your own work, to reach out to the station to see if you can find a contact, someone that you can share the music with, someone who might do an interview.
Mhm.
You have to really work at it and see whichever angle you can get in there is what you want to do, right?
That's important because coming to Canada as an immigrant, I found out quickly that life is easier, especially if you're searching for a connection to get somewhere else, especially to find a job or something. It's good to know someone, and that person may know someone. And I find that
Mhm.
Canada works like that in many industries, right? So here you are saying the same thing about networking. So it's important to have good relationships with people.
Absolutely.
How your company started was with one relationship.
Hmm.
And that was something, and that wasn't even planned. He walked into your place of work and
Yes.
you guys got to talking, and then from there that blossomed into a relationship, and then everything started like that. And that's beautiful. So how those relationships that you have formed, how do you nurture them and maintain them?
Well, it takes a little time too. It's not like one email or one phone call, but it's a continual. You have to, they trust you, you trust them, you get to know each other well, you have communication.
Mhm.
We communicate back and forth, through emails or phone, and you still have to nurture those relationships. But it makes it so much easier once you do and once you are able to develop those, because then it's like you have your team, right? It's your team of
Mhm.
people and you
Right.
help each other out.
Yeah.
And it makes life so much easier when you have that, because before it was a lot of work, and it's a struggle, right? To
Yeah.
form those connections, because they don't know who you are at all, and I don't know who they are. But yeah, you just have to get to know people, right?
Yeah, fantastic. Now, speaking of people, you have a family. What's the kind of support that you have from your family when you're juggling your normal job and you're juggling your business and you're meeting with your artists and you're talking to different people to strike that balance? What's that support like from your family?
I have one son,
Yes.
and yeah, he's in university actually,
Yeah.
and he's very supportive, and he helps me out as well.
Mhm.
I think, as you know, he has written a book. He has written three, published one.
Yeah.
So he's good at writing. So sometimes I utilize his skills to,
Yeah.
I get him involved in the business, right? And I'll be like, Chance, I need an article written for this
Mhm.
artist, and
Yeah.
he's really good at helping me out in any way he can. So I think just getting him involved in it as well. So I think he feels he's supporting me in
Mhm.
that sense, that he'll see I'm busy or a lot going on, and he'll always help me out with stuff like that. So that's really good. And my
So,
artists are so great. Like, I get so much support from them.
mhm.
I'm working with such wonderful people, and I appreciate that immensely. So everyone is just supportive of each other.
That's lovely. That support is important. So I want to ask you
Yeah.
though, is Chance studying something in music or communication?
No, actually, he's going into history and sociology major. So,
Okay.
yeah,
All
but he
right.
likes writing. Writing is writing. He
That
writes
still does
fiction.
involve a lot of writing too, right?
Yeah, yeah,
Reading.
yeah,
Yeah, so that's
yeah.
good. All right. So we're going to go a little bit more um, into your life. Is there anything from your childhood or growing up that kind of shaped your mind into thinking you love music and you might get into it one day? Anything at all?
There's always been that music has always been in me. Now, I'm not a singer. I'm not a professional performer in any way, but
Hmm.
I've always felt that kind of connection, and I'm sure a lot of people do.
Hmm.
But just growing up, my dad was very musically inclined. He sang in a band. He played guitar, the fiddle, piano, all these instruments he learned, and he played them well, and he played them all by ear. He's never taken a lesson. He just would pick up whatever instrument and start playing. So I think in some sense, that music, kind of was passed down. I
Hmm.
played piano, clarinet, a few different instruments growing up, but yeah, it's just something that I've always enjoyed. And not only just the fact of the music and how much I enjoy it, but it's the fact of the genre that we work in. It's the contemporary Christian gospel, and just knowing that the music and the lyrics in this music could possibly help somebody and give somebody hope. To me,
Yeah.
that's more of what I want to do, is make that
Hmm.
difference in someone's life, right? And
Yeah.
what a
Yeah.
better way to do it is through music. Yeah.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And many
Yeah.
people in our society need that hope. There's so much hopelessness around us that it's amazing. Even in Canada, it's like people turn to different harmful things to get them to
Right.
feel calm or happy or just not to think about the everyday struggles. But it's good that there's a healthy, strong medium that people can depend on, and you're involved in creating that space for people to have that hope. And that's very, very important. All right. So, in terms of musical influences on you, when you see your artists, I'm going to ask you two different ways. When you see your artists struggling, what do you do to keep them going?
That is a good question, because just like all of us, whatever we're involved in or what we do, sometimes we get to the point where it's, why am I doing this? You want to give up. You just feel like you've been working so hard and you're not achieving your dreams or your goals, right? And you want to give up. So honestly, all of my artists, I feel, have gone through that stage at some point. And for myself, I just try and be as encouraging as I can,
Mhm.
because I I know deep inside they don't, I don't think you really want to give up. We just
Yeah.
go through those moments when you feel like I just want to quit, right?
Mhm.
I'm done. So I just try and be as encouraging as I can and remind them of the positive stuff with the music, right?
Yeah.
And and I love all of my artists. They are absolutely wonderful. So I just remind them, how great they are and how their music is making a difference in people's lives. And
Yeah.
you have to keep going. And yeah, you just try and encourage each other
Yeah.
in those moments, right?
Yeah. Okay, good. I'm happy I asked you that first, and that again lends itself to the support system that you have in your work. What do you do then? How do you feel when your artists succeed? When when they're streaming and when they're getting out there and they're getting recordings and awards.
Wow, it's the best feeling ever, right? Because you see their perseverance and their determination, how much work they put into. And
Mhm,
I know for us, many of us on the other end, when you're listening to music, we
mhm.
might be listening to a song thinking, man, this is so good. And this artist, how lucky they are. They just sing and make this music and life
Mhm.
must be great, right?
Yeah, yeah,
But they don't realize all of the work, all of the background work that
yes,
goes into it.
yes,
Their determination, their perseverance, their hard work, it doesn't stop. It's day and night. It
yeah,
goes on and on. So when I see them achieve something, when they're winning awards, just
yeah,
hearing their music on the radio, even when you're just hearing comments of people might put on their songs of how hearing
yes.
their song has made a difference in their life,
Mhm.
like that, that is the best feeling
I
ever.
know, I know. I've
Yeah,
seen some of those comments, and
yeah,
that's what I want the audience to know and understand. That you see these people and they post on Instagram or wherever, and they're at concerts and they're recording and they're putting out singles and albums, and you say, "Oh wow, look at that person," and not understanding what's going on behind the scenes. And that's why it's
exactly.
important for me to talk to you because you're one of those persons who are behind the scenes doing the work and seeing the struggles and seeing the triumphs as well and working with these people to get to the place that we see online or wherever we go, right?
Absolutely, because they spend so much time, they're taking away from their families, from their life to
Yeah,
do this, right? It's their passion, but, all the work that goes into it. And I know they can agree, but, even the interviews I'm scheduling for them, because it's internationally, sometimes the time changes.
yeah,
We're scheduling interviews in the UK and South Africa, in Tokyo. And so
mm,
they're up in the middle of the night to get on this morning show, at a certain place. And
yeah,
so it's a lot. Sometimes I feel like I'm asking a lot of them, but I will always, check with them first. Are you okay with doing this? It's going to be at 2 a.m, but,
right. So,
you know,
so being this internationally known artist is not just, ooh, look at that. It takes a lot of work. And as you just said, in the middle of the
yeah,
night, you're up talking to someone in Asia because it's daytime for them. But instead
right.
of sleeping or spending time with your family, you are sitting on the computer talking to somebody.
That's
So
right.
those things are important to know.
Yeah. And
Yeah,
even, the expense of going through all of this, right? When they're producing songs, when they're making videos, like it's a big expense for these artists as well. So if you can show your support, listen to their music,
yeah.
help out, however you can, that is always greatly appreciated as well.
I was going to ask you that. So it's interesting you mentioned the expense. When you talk about recording and traveling to concerts or, you know, paying for studio time and
Mhm.
mixing and all of that kind of stuff that goes into creating the final product. Where do
Exactly.
your artists get that financial support from?
Well, there's a variety. You can apply for different types of support from places, like if you're in Canada, there are some places where you can. Otherwise, a lot of it is just coming out of their own pockets, right? So they're working very hard to support their vision, and their music.
Mhm.
So that's why I'm always like, people have to understand, it's little things. It's like sharing their music, it's commenting, it's liking their page. It's simple things you can do to support them, because they honestly put in so much work and so much
Mhm.
expense to put this music out there, and all we have to do is just enjoy it. So,
Yeah. I
yeah,
mean, that's it. I always tell people that, okay, you see someone doing something, sharing it, it's free, right?
that's right.
All you have to
Yes,
do is share or subscribe or do that small action, and you might be surprised. You are one more person that's getting them to that place where they can probably monetize or do whatever they have to do, right?
exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
And that's important to share that and help them as they help. For example, this podcast, they come on and they talk to me, and I post these podcasts, and people will subscribe to my channel, for example,
Right.
and then persons will see the music and then subscribe to their channel, and
Yeah.
that's the cycle that needs to continue. And as we build their career in music, and they're also balancing a full-time career as well, um, as recording, and then most of them have family and children, right? So it's very important in terms of you and doing business and working. You have been fighting your own battle, right, with cancer. In my previous podcast, I spoke to a young lady, and she was battling cancer. It was really, really hard for her. I spoke to her twice because the story was so inspiring and touching. So I kind of have a background as to what that's like. So I want you to take your time to
Hmm.
talk about that, because you have your own journey while you're doing public relations for artists and building this business. You have been going through that. Walk us through what that has been like for you.
Well, it's definitely been a journey, something that I guess it's something that nobody ever suspects or hopes they are going to have to
Yeah,
go through. But
yeah.
here we are. Um, Thankfully, a lot of the things that could have gone wrong with my journey didn't. There was a lot of positive things along the way. So I'm very grateful for that, absolutely. And I had a lot of support from everyone around me, from the artists, from family, friends, so that was very helpful too. And the time, I appreciate my artists so much because they've had patience during my journey, throughout my journey, and they have been very supportive. And working, doing a little bit of this throughout my journey, it's been very helpful as well, because it takes your mind off of the other things that are going on. So
Mhm.
it's been really good that way as well. But thankfully, I've gone through my surgery, through my treatments. Everything's looking really good right now. So thanks be to God,
Yeah, yeah.
and for everyone's prayers and support. And right now, everything's looking okay. So we'll just
Mhm.
pray that that continues that way.
Yeah, yeah. So
Yes, for
I
sure.
saw Kevin mention it, and we talked about it briefly. And when he was accepting his award and everything and thanking you, he mentioned that you were going through that, and also you've been open in sharing a bit about it on Facebook, and so it's something that you've shared. One thing about cancer, you see people and you don't know it, but for you, you're beautiful and you're doing this work for artists and you're posting their music and all this kind of stuff. No one suspects that you are going through these things. So that is what I want to talk about. And I want people to understand that not because you see people and they're doing all these supposedly great things means life is smooth and it's great. We all have those times and those mountains. How have you coped with that? Fighting cancer, making sure you're okay, going through the surgeries, etc., and doing what you love to do.
Well, I think it's just, having that faith and trusting in God that whatever is meant to be is going to be, right? Um, you can worry about it, and which we do. It doesn't always show, or people don't think that you're worried about it, but you're worried about it, right? So, but I think just having the support, trying to stay positive. The music has definitely helped me because you know it's given me something to focus on,
Absolutely. Yeah.
and yeah, it kind of gets your mind off of that. So yeah, it's just been, like I said, just trying to stay positive,
Hmm.
and putting it in God's hands.
Yeah. Absolutely. So I hear faith is there that keeps you going and the work keeps you going. How about the music itself? When the music is done and you listen, how does that impact you?
There's been a few songs, that my artists have released that you know, it has so much meaning. It's just that connection. It's like, wow, it's like they wrote that song for you.
Yeah.
And I think that is the whole purpose, though, right? Of what the artists are trying to do, right? So when
Hmm.
someone hears that song and whatever they may be going through, whatever journey, whatever suffering they're going through, it's like, wow, they hear those words, and it's like, wow, this song, it just has so much impact and meaning.
Yeah.
And it's been a real comfort as well.
Hmm.
So,
Yeah.
and so I can contest that, the music is working. The songs they're
So,
putting out there, it does actually, it means a
yeah.
lot. I just feel that, when I was going through my cancer and my treatments, and, you know, I think I found I've always appreciated music and I've always loved music, but that in that moment, it meant so much more, when you're going through certain things in life,
Hmm.
right? That there's certain songs and certain words that resonate with you so much more than at other
Hmm.
times, right?
Yeah.
Depending what you're going through. I think it just makes me feel, even more dedicated to what I'm doing, and gives me encouragement as well, because not directly as the artist, but I am working in the background, you
Hmm.
know, and I just feel even more um, wanting to help do this, right? So that we can change lives or give people hope and encouragement. So I
Hmm.
think going through what I did just even reinforces for me even more
Yeah.
that yes, this is what I want to do. And
Hmm.
even though some days it's a lot of work, and it's a lot of time and effort,
Yeah.
but if you can bring that hope to somebody, at the end of the day, I think for a lot of us, that's all we're really trying to do.
Yeah.
And
So for persons out there who are going through whether a health struggle or another personal struggle, financial struggle, the key I'm hearing here is to keep going. Find that strength, dig deep, and just keep going. Especially if you find that what you're doing is impacting other persons positively and bringing hope. Whether it's a friend or family or whoever you're around, that perseverance and determination to keep going is important for you as well as persons around you.
yes, and I think for myself anyway, I found doing for others and trying to help others as I was going through my own, I think that is healing in itself, because yes, you are going through stuff, but I think you help yourself by helping others is what I truly believe as well,
Yeah,
putting yourself out there, and that you're not the only one going through it, right? So
nice. It's a good. I'm happy that you're able to share that because giving up is often it's easy.
yeah.
I'm over it and it's too much for me.
And
And
that's what happens, right, in
yeah,
lives, right? Because people may already be struggling with so many different issues. It could be
right.
financial, relationship, whatever it is. And
Hmm.
then you get a health crisis on top of that,
Hmm.
right? And so then sometimes they feel like, this is just too much. Like, what else can I take, right?
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, exactly.
and just being able to be there and help others and support them, as you are both going through your own journeys. I think
Mhm.
that means a lot on
Yeah.
both ends, right?
Mhm. Yeah. So the question, why me? Has it ever occurred to you?
Well, yeah. Yeah, I think we always think, why me? But
Yeah.
already in this stage of life, I'm at the point, it's like, why not me? Like, you want to try something? Try
Yeah.
me. You get through, it feels like sometimes a person's been through so many things already, and it's like,
Mhm.
oh, something else to test
Right.
me, right?
Yeah.
So I don't know if it's funny or not, but I do have that mindset already. It's like, well, here, try me. Try me.
It's such a wonderful thing to see you being able to smile and laugh and do everything despite all of that happening. So it's a beautiful thing. When you talk about challenges in the industry, besides your personal challenge, which is, of course, is a lot, and we've seen how you talk about that, what other challenges are there that you have to face maybe on a daily basis in creating these spaces for these artists and making these connections and helping them in their journey?
Besides, the initial work of creating those connections, which takes up,
Mhm.
a good amount of time, and dealing with the different time zones, trying to keep every artist's schedule organized, right? Because you have
Mhm.
different interviews, everything going on different for each person. So it's just keeping that all organized and making sure everyone knows what's going on. I mean, other than that, to me, I don't find it so much as a struggle because, as I mentioned, it's something that I really enjoy doing. So
Okay.
it's putting in hard work, and
Mhm.
it's setting yourself up so that you're able to work easier in the future.
Yeah.
It's like any business. You're going to work really hard, and it takes a
Yeah.
lot of hard work off the start, and that
Yeah.
hard work continues throughout, but it gets easier as time goes on, right?
Right. In most cases, in my life and in other industries, in anything that you're doing, you hear people talk about the hard work. Now, hard work is a general thing. It looks different for different people. When you put in that hard work, or when you see your artist put in the hard work, but it does not pay off as expected, what's the approach when things don't work out as planned?
Well, of course, everyone is disappointed, right, to a certain
Mhm.
extent, because
Yeah.
you're always expecting, or always hopeful for the best, but it's
Mhm.
not always going to be that way. And I tell my artists too, you know, I can send their music everywhere, I can contact everyone. At the end of the
Mhm.
day, it's not my choice whether their music gets added to a radio station or they get that interview.
Yeah.
That I can do my job as well as I want to, but the radio station has to make that choice. Do they want to do the interview with this person? Does
Mhm.
their music fit with their radio station? There's all different kinds of other circumstances that are out of my control.
Yeah.
So sometimes it doesn't. Sometimes it's not a good fit for a lot of the stations, and all you can really do is chalk it up to experience. You learn as you go along, and unfortunately, it's an expensive experience. Uh, you know, but
Mhm.
you move forward. You move on to the next thing. You learn from what could have been done better.
Right.
Maybe let's do this. So it's just
Mhm.
to review that and then decide what you're going to change and what you're going to do
Mhm.
next.
Okay. Well, that's a good approach. That's a good approach. The reflection, the looking back at things and changing if needed to improve what you've done. What would you say to someone who wants to get into music, but they don't know what to do, or they've tried reaching out to someone themselves or trying to get in themselves, but it's not working?
First, I would want to hear what they have done. I would have that initial conversation with them, get the full story, and then we would work together to, create a plan and something that maybe would be beneficial to them,
Mm-hmm.
you would want, I would need to know what their approach was, and what went wrong, what went right for them. And then we
Mm-hmm.
could talk about a possible new strategy, or what changes maybe would make a difference to that. And
Mm-hmm.
sometimes even, they may have released a song and maybe it didn't go well for them.
Yeah.
It's not the end of the world either. If it was released in the last year or so, say, we could
Mm-hmm.
still take that song and try and, I could send it out there and we could work on it again.
Okay.
Sometimes people will just remix, like change up the song a little bit. They'll do a different version of it. And
Mm-hmm.
sometimes that's all it takes. And then it gets picked up.
A lot of times people face different barriers. One of yours was that diagnosis with cancer, right? Somebody is out there and they just got their diagnosis, and it hits hard because that's a word no one wants to hear. What would you tell someone who has gotten that news that, listen, this is what's happening to you?
That's a hard one. It's hard and it's not, because it's different for everybody. Everyone's going to take it different ways. I think it depends too what you've been through in your life. Some people are really unprepared for this kind of news, and I think your faith and trust is a big thing as well. But I mean, what I'd really want to say is just, you got to take it day by day, enjoy each day as it comes. Like, I know my mind likes to wander into the future. It's like, what if this, or what if this happens, or what if that happens, right? But you have to try and stay away from that and just take each day as it comes, deal with each thing you need to deal with that day.
Mm-hmm.
And try and stay as positive as you can, and listen to your body as well.
Yeah.
Eat healthy, take time to rest and just have that peacefulness. And
Mm-hmm.
yeah, I don't know. I'd be willing, if I would be willing to talk to anyone about it, but
Mm-hmm.
everyone's situation is a little bit different. But and as easy as you sometimes think it is, just to say, just try and focus on today, don't worry about it. We tell ourselves that all the time, but
Yeah,
it's never,
of course.
it's not so easy to do.
I mean, on
It's
a
not so
normal
easy
day,
to do, but
yeah, on a normal day, it's hard not to think about any issues you're having, much more to have cancer. I remember talking to my other guest about her situation, and it was tough. Like, her whole lifestyle had to change, and the different times that she felt intense pain when she was going through chemotherapy or any kind of treatment that required her to just be in a space where she had to deal with it. But she had that support again. And on a normal day, it's hard to deal with problems much more. That Kevin did a song, which just came to mind as you spoke. Kevin did a song, I'm Alive, right? I'm Alive. And I'm going to play that song.
right.
I'm going to,
Yeah.
of course, because it's relevant in this case, because I'm Alive is one of those songs that says, okay, you woke up this morning. Yeah, you're going through XYZ, but you woke up. And I often think about myself, like, before I get to the point of worrying about the problems, how many blessings have I skipped to get to that point of starting to think about the problem? I woke up, I have health, I have strength, I can move around, I have energy, my fingers work, my eyes work, my feet work. So I have all that I need to just keep going. So all those small things that got you up and going, pause a little bit, give thanks about those things. And that's why this song is so important.
First thing in the morning, I give thanks for another day. I smile, though I don't have no money. I won't let that faze me, 'cause I for the gift of life. Gonna share that smile, it will never ever fade away. I'm alive, in spite of all my struggles. I'm alive, won't be drowned by my sorrows. I'm alive, yeah. Gonna live like there's no tomorrow. I'm gonna live, hey, cause today is all I have. Ha. Work hard every day for me and my family. It's rough, but I gotta make it. Right now, can't hesitate. My time will come, and I'll be a better man. I'm gonna go through my day with a beautiful smile, even when things ain't going my way. I'm thankful for the gift of life. Gonna share that smile, it will never ever fade away. I'm alive, in spite of all my struggles. I'm alive, won't be drowned by my sorrows. I'm alive, yeah. Gonna live like there's no tomorrow. I'm gonna live, woo, cause today is all I have. I'm gonna live today. Come on. I'm gonna live. I'm gonna go through my day with a beautiful smile, even when things ain't going my way. I'm thankful for the gift of life. Gonna share that smile, it will never ever fade away. I'm alive, in spite of all my struggles. I'm alive, won't be drowned by my sorrows. I'm alive, yeah. Gonna live like there's no tomorrow. I'm gonna live today. Cause today is all I have.
That is a great song. And you know what is another absolutely great song that encouraged me throughout that is Kevin's K. Anthony song, Don't Give Up Now.
Yeah.
That resonated it was so well with me, right? Because it's like you feel like everything is falling apart, but you know, when he's singing about, you know, don't you give up now. So yeah.
Yeah. And even Alicia is singing some songs, and Damar. You listen to the songs, and the songs are so potent. They speak to real life issues, and based on my conversation with them, it's some of those real life issues that inspired the words in some of those songs. So it's important to see
Absolutely.
how real life issues can shape how we live, how we do things, and the decisions that we make. Moving on, is there anything that you are looking forward to, whether your personal life or in music?
I want to make mention of how wonderful, you know, I'm just backtracking a little bit when we were talking about, you know, what it feels like when you see your artist doing well or getting the
Yeah.
awards. And, you know, I've been blessed enough to be able to experience this a couple times now, but back in 2021, two of my artists, Shauna Kane and Kay Anthony, both were nominated for the same Juno Award.
Yeah.
They were in the same category, and Shauna Kane won that year, but Kay Anthony kept going, his determination, he just kept working. And if we fast forward to 2023, he won the GMA, which is the Gospel Music Association. He won for the Gospel Artist of the Year. And then this year in 2024, Kay Anthony was nominated again for the Juno Award. And this year he won the Juno Award for Contemporary Christian Gospel Album of the Year. So just to see that happen, you know, like I mentioned to you, we've been working together for over like 8.5 years, and to see all the work and all the effort and just everything go into it in all that time, to see them be recognized for their hard work and for their talent, that is just truly a blessing. That is so, so good to see. And that was amazing. And to answer your question about, what's coming up and what I'm excited for, with the music, we have a lot of exciting things happening over the next few months. K Anthony has a new album coming out in October, and he'll be releasing a few singles off of that throughout the summer. So I just want everyone to keep an eye out for that music coming out. Lenny, that I work with as well, she has an album coming out the end of August. And both of them actually just released new songs just this past weekend. So if everyone should check them out and watch for these new albums coming out. So I've also had the pleasure of working with Brian Dirksen and Marika Seward this last little bit. I was promoting their tour across Alberta, Saskatchewan, Manitoba, and Ontario. So they also have some more exciting things coming up, some music coming out, some more tour dates coming. So watch for that too. There'll be more information coming out on that as well. So a lot of exciting things happening in the music business. And for myself, I'm just really looking forward to working with all these people, continuing growing the business and developing new relationships, and just excited for many things that are coming up here. I just wanted to make mention too that K Anthony, they have a concert coming up on July 20th in Toronto. So that's something if anyone's interested in as well.
As we come down to the end of it, is there anything that you would want to say? Any final words? Something maybe about yourself, or maybe about your journey, or the music. Music is something that people think about getting into. Many persons are in it and are struggling. What is it that you would want to sum up the industry as, and what persons should expect or do?
I just want to say, if you have that passion for the music and that's what you truly want to do, I think you should pursue that. Find the right people, find your mentors, find your team and people that support you. And you should try that, because music is so inspiring and music makes such a big difference. It's those, as we spoke about throughout this podcast, the lyrics and it just, sometimes it resonates so well with somebody, and it absolutely changes lives for the better. So it's very important. And if you're feeling that and you want to make difference in people's lives, I think it's absolutely something that you should go out and do. I would also just like to say, if anyone's interested, or if they are maybe seeking out some PR work, or just even have questions about what the PR does exactly, what I could do for you, absolutely feel free to reach out and be happy to talk to you. And
what's the best way to reach you?
You can find me on Instagram and Facebook at Vision PR Solutions. And also my website will be up in probably a couple weeks, and that will be visionprsolutions.com. So you could just reach out, send a message. And
in terms of your PR work, is it limited to music, or do you do PR for other industries or sectors?
I have ventured outside of the music because, in all honesty, PR work is PR work, right? So if someone has something in mind, I'm open to that as well.
Okay, that's perfect. Good to know. Sharon, thank you for sharing, and it's such a wonderful opportunity to get to talk to you. And I hope you will continue to do your work, and wish you all the very best with your journey. And I hope your health will stay on top, and you will be able to continue to do what you love.
Well, thank you for the opportunity.
No problem.
More practice, pretty soon I'll be a good talker.